Hello, and welcome to Freedom with Marketing. I'm Sam, the founder of Freedom with Marketing, and welcome to the Life, Leadership and Business Skills playlist. Today I want to talk to you about a concept of when everything goes wrong, what you can do in that present situation in order to get you through it. Let me start by sharing a story from my other passion, which is long distance running. This one here is less of a specific story, but more of a general thing that happens to me over and over and over again. And it might happen when you feel exhausted, you feel hot, you have heat exhaustion. I live in Malaysia, in Borneo, which is directly under the equator. Every day is hot and humid, and it's middle of the day, it's super hot, you're sweating, you're already showing the signs of heat exhaustion, and then you have a massive hill that you need to climb. Scenario like that. Another scenario might be that your nutrition plan, your nutrition strategy with the calories has failed and you now have gastrointestinal problems. Another issue is when you get blisters on your feet and every step feels painful, and a whole host of other things that could happen. Another one would be where you are told that the race is 55 kilometers or 60 kilometers or whatever the distance is. Your GPS watch tells you that you're 1 kilometer away from the finish, and you're thinking, yes, I'm almost there. You reach that kilometer, your watch tells you that you should finish, you're still in the middle of nowhere, you can't hear anything, it's dark all around, what are we going to do? Well, the only thing you can do is just keep moving forward to get to the finish line. All of these scenarios is when you're put into a position of adversity. So what do you do? What do you do when everything goes wrong? Well, I can't say what you could do because obviously everyone's situation is different. But I can tell you what I do in these situations in running. And that is that I take the present moment for what it is. I try to deal with what is happening right now. This second, this minute. That's all that matters. And you have to apply and use mental strategies in order to get through the next second, the next 10 seconds, the next 30 seconds, the next minute. And that's it. Give yourself super easy goals. Super easy targets. With me, it's do 5 more steps, 10 more steps, whatever it might be, and celebrate the win. Yes, I've done 5 more steps. Yes, I've got to 10 steps. Can I get to 20 steps? Yes, I've got to 20 steps. Let's get to 50 steps. All of these small wins start to compound, and that is how I manage these adverse situations. And this is what I've done over and over again during the runs, using variations of the strategy that I've told you. Sometimes if it's climbing up a steep hill, what I do is I give myself small goals and I give myself different metrics, which means I can celebrate more wins more frequently. For example, I will be counting my steps, which is something I always do during adverse situations. So it's always getting to the next 10, the next 20, the next 50, the next 100 steps. I also look at the watch for total distance covered. So in addition to counting steps, I also want to celebrate getting to the next 100 meters, getting to the next 200 meters, getting to the next 500 meters, getting to the next kilometer. If I'm going uphill, I'm looking at my watch for total elevation gained throughout the entire run. And I want to get to the next 10 meters. I want to get to the next 10 meters. I want to get to the next 100 meters. And then I also want to look at the elevation where I presently am outside. So if I know that the hill I'm climbing is say 800 meters above sea level and I'm starting off at 200 meters, I know I have 600 meters to climb. So I can then calculate 600 meters on the watch from where I can calculate let me rephrase it. I can calculate how close I am to reaching the top so that I have 4 different metrics that I'm celebrating these wins on. And every win I celebrate, the more wins you get, the more momentum that you have. Now, why is this so important? The reason is because no matter how bad things get in the present, that when you get out of it, and I guarantee you will get out of it eventually because time will pass no matter what you do, you are not going to remember the small things. You're not going to remember the details. For example, in a recent run, I had a few issues towards the end and I had another 4 hours to go before finishing it. And it was very much so a death march where all you can do is put one foot in front of the other. And I went through this for 4 hours. Looking back, I don't actually remember any of the details. I don't remember the pain. I don't remember the adversity. All I remember is the people that I interacted with along the way. I remember certain sections of the course, and I remember getting to the end and passing the finishing line and what happened then. I don't remember the actual units of time which I had to endure and use the mental strategies to get through. Another example is a friend that I have, and he recently did a 200-mile run in Australia, and I was following his tracker and sort of cheering him on as he did it. And when I knew he finished, I asked how he was, and his response after finishing the race an hour or two afterwards was he was hell while I was in hell. And when he says, oh, because there was so much sand, it was on the beach, sand in the socks, caused all these different problems afterwards. And that's what you think it is. He's just finished it, he has just recently gone through the experience, it is still present in his mind. A few days later he says, actually, as far as these runs go, this is actually a pretty good one. So he went from immediately finishing saying it was hell, it was one of the hardest things he did, it was horrible, to a few days pass and all of a sudden his perspective on what he went through is completely different and completely changed. And I believe the reason for that is because you don't remember what happens in the present moment. And therefore, it is completely within your control to break things down into the smallest possible unit that you can in the present and just use your mental skills and mental resilience to get through it. And then celebrate the wins, gain momentum, keep pushing forward. How does this apply to business? Well, when you're in a business standpoint, so many things are out of your control, so many things can go wrong. So what you have to do is focus what is within your control. Just like in the run, it is within your control to count your steps and celebrate getting to the next milestone that you set. Likewise, in business, it is within your control to set yourself achievable, easy targets so you can get the wins and do what Dan Sullivan calls the win streak. And the more wins that you get, the more cumulative wins you get, the more it gives to pushing forward. And that is how you will get through adverse situations. And like I've mentioned in some of the previous videos, is that when you experience a really low point, a lot of the time from this adversity, good things happen afterwards. When you're experiencing a really low point, view the adversity in the situation you're in as a positive, because you can extract a compelling story from it, and that compelling story is what will connect you to your target audience more. And just be aware that this too shall pass. The moment you're in will pass. You will reflect back on it in the future without remembering what happened. So do whatever you can to get through the situation, do whatever you can to improve your situation in the future, because the time will pass no matter what. That's all I've got for you in this video. If you want to explore ways we can work together, you'll find out more about what we do and how we can help you below. See you in the next video.